Welcome to Innovate, presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Today we're delighted to have our guest, Amina El Abed, who is the co-founder of Qonteq. Amina, thank you for joining us today. And for our listeners who might not be familiar with you, could you please give us a quick introduction of yourself and some insights about your background and expertise before we really dive into this amazing, interesting interview and talk about your technology and innovation?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Bob, for having me
My
on your
pleasure.
show. My name is Amina El Abed. I live in San Francisco, and I'm the co-founder of Qonteq Technologies. Qonteq is technology that allows for the monetization of video content, but it's not much about the technology as much as it is about the transforming of the business model, and that's what I'm excited to dive into with Bob today. So on my background, I have a very colorful background, which started on a film set. I was a PA. I was a PA of Frida Pinto when I first started my career. So I started on movie sets, and then I worked in advertisement for a few years, and that was always in production, in ads. And then I pivoted to the nonprofit sector, where I started a consulting firm in strategic communication, working in the MENA region with marginalized communities. After that, I created the very first feminist digital media that is also sexual minority allies in the Middle East and North Africa before moving to the US, where I'm launching Qonteq, but also working in venture capital, supporting emerging managers in securing funds, because especially women and diverse, because it's a business that is very particular, doesn't have much room for emerging managers, saying women and people of color. So
Well, we
this
need
is
to advocate more for that. We definitely need to
exactly,
advocate more for that, yes.
exactly.
So, Amina, I noticed that you picked up philanthropy at a young age. What kind of what drove you to that path?
Having worked in communication and advertisement, I was very struck with the power that we hold, and then also a bit of an idealist, and I was like, why don't I use all of these lessons into something that has more meaning, where I can do more with less, where the communications budget goes towards impact and stuff on the terrain, and where actions become a way of communicating. And that what draw me into it. I am from Tunisia, so I'm an immigrant, and during the past few years, we've been, going through some struggles in the region, and that leaves a lot of communities that are marginalized, especially women and young people who are not working, who are very easy to recruit into that's what draw me into it. I've worked in 5 countries. I've done that for about 7 years. It was very rewarding, and I've worked on numerous programs where art is a very big piece of it, because it's important to me as an outlet, and I know that it can be transformative for people. And so I've worked
Correct.
in many places before I decided to move here.
Amazing. I mean, to me, art is always a way to vent. People venting their emotion, their feeling, their experiences, their happiness, their sadness. Always go, art is the best way to vent through that.
We all need it.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you worked in advertising, you said, and how did that kind of, I would say, affected and helped your career going forward in production and, and also media production, because you worked in both aspects of the advertising and media production.
Yeah. So it was a lot of lessons for me. Well, first, I'm a very creative person myself. And so working in advertisement, being, in a room where there's always brainstorming and trying to come up with different creative ways to send a message. And it's the different messages that you can craft. I have a real passion for that. But for me, it was a lot of big lessons and a lot of disillusion as well. I mean, when you understand what is at the core of advertisement, kind of see that there are things that we work towards that aren't necessarily what work for us. So I'll give you an example so I don't stay too conceptual. Like, for example, what I learned is that volume doesn't necessarily equal revenue. The obsession with reach and numbers of interactions, that was what I was, always pressured to do, always show numbers, how many people watched, how many people commented, how many people did this or that. But that did not translate into an impact or revenue, not necessarily. And I say this particularly because it relates to why I started thinking about, artists with millions of Spotify streams barely make ends meet, or how writers of very successful shows, struggle to pay rent. I also learned that your audience is willing to follow you to other platforms if content is good enough. They are not giving enough credit for that. So if your viewers watch your content because it is conveniently placed where they are, you'll have a harder time converting them into a paying customer later on. And so you have that false sense of security of I need to keep investing in the same platform because that's what everybody is. And so it kind of gives you an idea of why micro influencers are more powerful than they know. High quality production, this is from my production days, it's expensive, and it easily throws you into the arms or the chase of brand deals, which creates a vicious cycle that ultimately washes away your credibility, your singularity as a creator. Because you need to keep those deals coming, and they come with a lot of do's and don'ts, and that creates a kind of dependency on them. It's not good for authenticity, and it co-opts it. And that's why you see, curves when we see an influencer going very big and then they plateau, because it doesn't necessarily translate into living wages for people. And so those are things that I learned through working in advertising and being on the other side of, going to find artists or creators and trying to work with them to fulfill, my brand objectives. But I was seeing that on the other side, the deal was not as beneficial for my clients as it was for the people that I was collaborating with. So that's in a nutshell, I think.
Interesting. So did that kind of help you, or kind of start, the idea of co-founding Qonteq? Is that where the idea start evolving together and saying, hey, you know what, I'm working with influencer, I've seen the numbers, and this, I need a different way or different kind of to monetize to help them. Please tell us about how did the idea came about, and what does Qonteq stands for?
All right. So Qonteq stands for content technology. It's the way that I say it. That's why it comes out like this. It's the accent.
No. Qonteq.
That was one of that was surrounded by creative people, working in productions. So my first job was on the film set of Black Gold in 2012. It didn't do very well in the box office, but it was a very big production of, thousands of people working on it. And I was thrown into this world of seeing, thousands of people working towards, the fulfillment, or to bring together a creative vision in front of, the audience. And it's not just, the vision of one person or two people. It's all of these, individuals who work behind the scene, who we don't spend time reading their names and the credit at the end, that all contribute to that endeavor. I'm also surrounded by a lot of artists. I am a bit of an artist myself, and so I have a lot of musicians around me. And I see all of the things they have to do aside from producing their music to be able to make a living. They have to be great at advertising. They have to learn how to edit. They have to learn how to make videos. They have to learn all of these things. They have to chase, the brands. They have to grow their numbers. And that's all time that's taken away from creation. And I think all of that is unnecessary, because we see that in some examples right now. There is a wonderful startup. I think you've already interviewed the guy from even.biz. And they kind of prove, and I'm into that school of thought, that with a handful of true fans and taking away middlemen and just, creating that direct rapport with people who want to support you, this is the right way to do it. A small number of people who really believe in you and want to support you is enough, and it's even more rewarding. And so you take that into production as well. It's the same thing. If I am a makeup artist, or if I am a stylist and I worked on a film set, can, through people who support me, they can come and purchase a piece of the mise en scène, as we say in French, is of the scene. And this is kind of where the idea comes from, where, you have that traceability of, if people are watching content and they're buying from it as they see it come on screen. And it's the fruit of, the combined vision of many individuals. You kind of have that traceability, and what is each one's vision bringing into this, and you can pay them a better wage because you have that traceability, and people can support you through your art and not have to go through pay a streaming company money, or have to see you advertise for a brand that has nothing to do with your own image. So I really wanted to refocus stuff on the creative bit, because I think it's enough for people to make enough money to live and to be able to keep on creating. I rambled there.
No. I mean, the whole idea is really, we want to know more about Qonteq and see, what it's all about, and how artists will benefit from it, and how is it really is going to revolutionize the new way of monetizing on videos, whether it's you're a musician, or you are, you like to renovate things or fix stuff, or you're a cook or whatever. I mean, there's all type of great videos out there, self-help videos, music videos, how-to videos. And, this is that's where everybody's on. If you're not on YouTube, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram Reels. And, the new stars, in my opinion, in this world, the time we're in, is the new creators. Creators are the new stars. They're the new celebrities of the century we're in right now. Sure, you got your movie and celebrity stars, but I think the biggest celebrities are the content creators, which used to be the viewers. They became the content creators. They became the stars.
Exactly. I mean, we have to, as you say, you have to take a look and go at the core of, what makes those people so relatable. It's the fact that it's this creativity and doing a lot with, just by yourself or with a group of people. And it's that authenticity that we relate to. That's what makes us, buy a t-shirt from this person, or like support them, or go to a meet and greet. The same principle that is applied right now for everything else. And so I want to take that back and give the power back into the artist's hand, and transform their content into a powerful tool. I don't want to call it advertisement, because I really want to take the advertisers away from it, but where what you choose to put into your image, that's really what people are after. That's why I think I always say that, these industries, they should be managed by fans, not the artists themselves, because they should be focused on making arts and not businessmen. It's the fans that are gonna tell you what's best for the artist, because all we want for them is to create and do their thing.
Yes. How does this technology work? I know it's not been released yet, correct? I mean, the release date hasn't came about. And I'm sure it's almost there. You've been working on it for a minute. So you're a perfectionist, and you want it to be perfect. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, is this technology going to be available on certain platforms, the social media platforms that we're aware of, whether it's TikTok or Instagram Reel or YouTube Shorts, or is it something that they would have to subscribe to, or how does that part of the logistic part of it works?
All right, so I've thought about this for a very long time, and I thought that in order to really embody the kind of change that we want to see in the industry, is we need our own platform, which everybody is like asking, how are you gonna compete? There is the YouTubes, and there is this, and there is that.
You want to revolutionize the content consuming business or consumption business, which it's due. I have to say it is due, because there's only a few platforms, and they've been dominating for a very long time.
Exactly. And you look at interviews, and I've seen of one of the CEOs, and they were saying, aren't you afraid of newcomers into the business? And he would say no, because the barrier to entry are so huge, and it's so costly, that we're not too worried about, new small players coming in. It's very bold. He's probably right. It's expensive to get into, but I think that we gotta start somewhere, and we're already seeing the end of a business model. You've seen the strikes in Los Angeles for the better part of last year and the year before for the writers and for the actors. And I think we're
Yes.
gonna see more of that as we go. You've seen all of the current discussions surrounding Spotify and how little artists are making and how even tougher, new policies are coming into play for them to actually make a living. And so are starting to look at each other and be like, as people who want to get access to the artist or the artistry or the creation, how do we find a way to just, be me and you, and I'll just support you directly, and so you can, keep doing what you're doing, and we're fans or people, the audience are showing a willingness to follow the artists and creators wherever they go if it's a
Yeah.
better option for them. And so many newcomers are taking the hint and they are working towards that. And it's really amazing that they're doing it. But it's definitely harder, to start from scratch. And that's what we're doing. And so Qonteq is a technology. And so we're going to launch Music, spelled
Oh, it's
MUZZEQ.com.
gonna be it's gonna be called Contact Music.
It's just gonna be music. So Qonteq is the
Oh,
technology, and we wanna
technology.
do like specialized platforms depending on the type of content. So music is about music videos. It's gonna be a streaming platform for music videos. Now, music videos are the most streamed piece of content
Content.
online.
Okay. Really? Still?
It is still, yet it's still perceived by productions as an expense. It's a promotional cost. It's the way that it's monetized right now on YouTube or Spotify is through the same ad system where you're gonna watch an ad before and after. And this is how you make a part, of the ad revenue with YouTube and what they decide to give you. Or you can, as an artist, do brand deals and, go on Instagram and be like, I wore these sneakers on my music video and I have this deal, and you do some product integrations in your music video. So these are the few ways through which monetization is currently happening. But still, you also see a lot of people completely abandoning the format of music videos because it is costly and still perceived as an expense, as I said. And so if it's the most streamed piece of content online, it should be an asset. It should be an opportunity for the artist. If you put it out there, it should be bringing you revenue. And so I would like for artists eventually through a platform like Music that they can come into, upload their own music videos, and then allow people to purchase the creative vision, because it's a few people coming together to create this vision, and people would be coming onto it and then buying real time or like having some special merch on there. So this is what Music is going to be about. It's a platform for streaming music videos where fans can directly support their artists through the purchasing of the mise en scène, like a piece of the creative vision.
Now, is it only going to be music videos, or would it be other content creators that, let's say, they create sewing videos, how-to videos, car racing videos, or only strictly music? It's going to be.
So I believe in specialization because I really want to cater to each community specifically, and that's a conviction that I have. It's a big criticism of mine to see YouTube, for example, that's already introduced the feature for shoppable video right now. If you
Yes.
watch and you scroll, you can now click and it's affiliate links, but it's too big. And it's a lot of variety.
Yes.
And now you can watch a video of me talking to you about, I don't know, whatever subject, but then if you click on the video, I'm gonna be selling, I don't know, plants or something unrelated to what I'm saying. And so
Yes.
when the goal is just selling, when the goal is advertising, and it's one of the things that also prompted me to launch Qonteq is that I see all of the players that are, not all of them, but most of the players, and also talking to investors, this is always something that comes back, like, why don't you focus on the advertisers or the platforms? So you have platform, you have the content creator, and you have the advertiser. Everyone is talking to either the advertiser or the platform owner and creating products and services that make their lives easier, but nobody's talking to the content creator, who is the fuel to all of this. And I want
Without
to
it, there won't be no platform.
exactly, and I just want to talk to those.
So you're pretty much basically giving more power to the artists, empowering the artists, because a lot of artists felt like their power had been stripped from them because they became the cash cow, and the industry is not, but to me it's the other way around. The industry should be the cash cow, because without these artists there'll be no industry, there'll be no concert, there'll be no music video, there'll be none of that. So we do have to give power back to the artists and more appreciation and more value to the artists, because they are the main tool. They're the blood that fuels everything. Without it, there's no entertainment. There's no life of entertainment.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we tend to forget that, and they tend to forget that themselves. I mean, everything
Yes.
is built right now in a way that make it so difficult. It's already
Yes.
difficult enough to create. And
Yes.
then you have on top of that all of the things that you have to invest a lot as an artist into a platform like Spotify or into YouTube to even start monetizing your content. And when you start monetizing, it's only peanuts. And that's not right, because you can have 100 people who love you,
Yes.
and they can,
Yes.
bring you more revenue than you would have with millions of streams or of views.
So obviously you see the change. We are in a race of technology and innovations right now, especially in the entertainment industry, many industries, but let's talk about the entertainment industry, music industry in special, that it's this a race of innovations, and it's rapidly changing. And the younger viewers who are in their early teens, the 11, the 12, the 10, who really watch a lot of these, they on their devices, they watch TikTok and they watch a lot of these social media platforms, are less and less engaged on Spotify. Spotify became more of an adult person, not a young person, to go to station, because the young people who dictate the population of such consumption of content and music, I feel like they kind of bored from just put a pair of headphones, grab your cell phone, and listen to some music and just bop your head. And I don't think they want to do that anymore. They want something different. They want something with an experience, something they can change the way, make them part of it. Obviously, they were looking for that experience, that unique experience, because, okay, TikTok came in, it had the great experience by creating your own viral video, creating your own music, whether it's music from a known or unknown artist or your own creation. And the video became viral, and that's how you created your own experience. The fans became the actual creators, and the creators became the stars or the celebrities. And do you think we're pivoting to that now, and we will see more platforms of new ways of consuming content, maybe the end of streaming content, like let's say the end of the streaming platform? I had somebody on the show earlier on my other show, which is related more to the music and music tech business, called Soundbreaker, and about half an hour ago, actually, before I'm doing an interview with you, and he mentioned to me he feels that a lot of the streaming platform, the DSPs, the digital streaming platforms that streams music out there, like Spotify and Apple's and Deezer and Pandora and many others, they're all great, obviously. Sure, they reached out to places we would never think they will reach out. Why? Because of the mobile phones, because of the technology. Technology dictated how the music business is going to be viewed. How music going to be viewed and consumed, and by the consumers. And so, before, you would sell CDs and vinyl and cassettes. Certain places, they don't have that luxury. There's no stores. And if they do get it, they're not the original one. It's been bootlegged. Now, doesn't matter what part of the earth you're in or the moon. You open up your phone and you got good Wi-Fi. And everybody got Wi-Fi. Everybody got a mobile phone. Mm-hmm. So, do you feel now it's coming to, are we changing? His opinion was, streaming platforms are going to go on the way because they have so much money, they're so powerful, they will gobble and buy up any new technology, and also to keep them relevant. But again, you have 250, let's say, DSPs around the world. That's a lot. And each one going to have its own different way of consuming content. And people going to have 250 memberships or subscription. No, nobody wants that. So obviously things change. So do you feel there's a new way of consuming content coming? And maybe that's where you also, your company, Qonteq and music will play a role in that. Or is it still going to be the same old way, headphones, phone, either you see it just, I think there's a beginning, there's an end, and always there's, to that end, there's always a beginning to end in. When the end going to come, there's a beginning of it. And my opinion, we are pivoting and we are heading to that direction as digital, as physical went to digital, and digital now goes to something else.
That is such a good way of putting it. I think there are things that change and things that never change. So the things that are changing, and it's why
Everything changes.
I'm gonna tell you what doesn't change. So first
Please.
of all, the things that change, it's the technology. Yes, it is the way that we consume content, and we wanna be a part of those next generation solutions that allow for that interactivity, because I think it is now expected. We have young people who are now expecting the different way of experiencing, technology, or experiencing content, or art or music. And
Yes, experiencing. The experience, yes. That's what everybody wants.
so for me, what doesn't change is, creating something that is, no matter, you can tell me about all of the algorithms that are now here to create hit music and so on, but at the end of the day, human creativity and, what gets you, an amazing, an amazing choreography, or an amazing song, or an amazing, the process and the pain of that process is never going to change for an artist. And I think
Correct.
the way that, these current models are, as you're saying, they're disappearing, is because it feels like they have cheapened, this process, because there's so much availability everywhere. So that when you put your music on Spotify or something like that, it's a lot of content, it's a lot of, that pain of creation. I'm sure you know what it is to get you to that point, and then it's nothing. It's that expectation that it's supposed to be available, that it's supposed to be cheap, that it's supposed to be within, a few pushes of a button. But I also think that, there is this new generation that's coming that is, more protective of their energy, of, their way that they, create, the time that they put into things. And I think it's going to force, an acknowledgement or a better reassessment, the value of, a good track, or the value of a good movie, or a good, choreography or something like that. I meet you there. That's why I'm not worried about, there are some ways that can take us into, these get rich quick, schemes. There are trends that we can jump on. There are, with AI, everyone started talking about AI and putting it, at the forefront. To me, AI is something that should be internal. You use it as a tool. You don't need to put it necessarily into the hands of every user. This is AI thing. No, use it to create a better service yourself,
Yes.
internally. And we are using AI because it helps us, but I don't need to plug it everywhere. And there is that fatigue that is coming, because where is the actual added value here? And we're never going to stop asking these questions. That's why, there are things to me that don't change, and it's a good thing. Now is about building on a better basis, even if you have to start from scratch.
Yes, interesting. Well, yes, we are going through change, and things, you said certain things won't change and certain things will change. I see more changes, the only thing sometimes don't change is traditions, but younger generation are breaking all the barriers, all the rules, creating your own rules. There's no rules to being happy, there's no rules to music, no, music is about being creative, being yourself, go in the zone and come up with your own sound and your own thing. And art, like drawing, somebody said, oh, what is this? There's no rules to it. This is
Yeah.
creativity, comes out natural, yes. And eventually, I think, yes, I see the change, but not as fast. But I see it fast also, not as fast as I expected it to. But I think maybe in the next between 3 to 5 years, you'll see slowly new changes coming in. And yeah, sure, a lot of people making money. Nobody wants to disrupt their income, their revenue, jobs involved, because new change mean new adaptation to technology, new experiences, meaning new people with different new knowledge and new subjects that they understand. And so you get rid of what it means, get rid of certain people. Not really. It means either re-educating people, to understand and work with this new. But there will be a new generation of workforce that will come in and take over that. The other thing is pretty much, would it be all subscription based, or would it change? I don't know, but I know one thing, that video games are taking the lead in all of that. So I think eventually the music is following that lead, because the is metaverse, is mixed reality. We all know that, and it's been around for years. It's nothing new. The name is new, metaverse. The name is new, mixed reality, VR to virtual to mixed reality and all of that. But I think that's where the music business is going, in my opinion. And obviously the film business will follow always after the music business. Some years later will follow.
I'm
Interesting
excited
conversation.
Yes. I'm really excited.
What struggles you came across and challenges creating this technology, Qonteq and music, obviously, to build it. Obviously, a young entrepreneur like yourself, obviously, you always need money, and you need funding. And there's also, because the funding needed not just for to create and develop this technology, also to house it, because you do need
Servers.
bigger servers and all of that, and yes.
So that is the challenge, that, as I told you earlier about, that big CEO saying, we're not worried because it's so expensive to develop something in the space that, those small players that stand no chance. And so it is, I mean, the way that, especially, early days of a startup, they say don't scale. And so you try not to scale, and, for revenue for the technology to pay for itself, and that you only grow at the rate at which you're gaining customers. It's a big challenge, because those conversations are also new, and so you have to do a lot of explaining of where you're coming from, because when you say it's technology, you're going to have people say, but YouTube is doing something similar, or this one is doing that, or this one has done it and didn't succeed. So you have to really get into the heart of the struggle, and go from there to explain that while the way the business exists right now, it is making a lot of money, it is still creating a lot of value and booming, but there is some flaws within it that makes it not sustainable if you really want to keep the quality of creatives that you're currently having. And so I don't know if it's going to take another 10 years or 20 years. The current business model that is starving artists is not sustainable. So there is going to be a point where, people, and they have started asking questions of what is the alternative. I don't want to be, keep paying, subscription here that is not cheap, but knowing that my favorite artist is struggling to pay rent this month. And so those questions have started, and it's good for us to position ourselves in a way where we answer some of those questions. It is definitely difficult to build this from scratch, and we're not to a point where we're talking about funding. I have a part-time job like every other founder should have, and I keep my hand on the pulse.
Advice.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, you have to. But I talk to a lot of VCs and investors, and I try to understand, what is the point at which you start, fundraising. And it's tough for something like this because, obviously with things becoming more risky now with all of the issues that have happened throughout the years, there is more caution when it comes to funding. And so they would want to see you, already with something out there that's making, a bit of money. And we're trying to get to that point. But, getting there with your own means puts all of the risk on your shoulders. But it's okay because this is a new way of seeing things, and it's difficult to explain a change in the business model when there are so many powerful players out there that are doing something that is very different.
So from my understanding, that you guys doing it. I mean, obviously you're a co-founder, so you have a partner. So you and your partner or partners bootstrap the whole thing yourselves.
Yes.
Supported from your jobs, money that you have saved, and you just dumped it in.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, to me, some of the most successful startups or tech startups, they're the ones that they're really bootstrapped it, because they really got involved in it. They dig deep. They rolled up their sleeves, say, "I'm gonna dig in. I'm not afraid of getting dirty. I'm not afraid of being a salesperson. I'm not afraid of learning about marketing, know how to market the product. I'm not afraid of understanding, what do I need? Is the product that we building or we built, is it, it's needed? Does the market need it? Is there a problem and we fixing the problem?" And also not afraid having a job and work full time and running a business full time.
You have to. I mean, if you're, I am an outsider, and I think it's a good thing. It makes things a bit more difficult for me, but I think the way that we are building Qonteq, I think it's on the right basis, even if it takes a bit longer because it's all bootstrapped and everything. But we're asking ourselves the right questions. We're having a lot of humbling conversations, weekly and daily, of people who tell us, what is the struggle. But we're also, having a lot of aha moments, because you talk to people that nobody's talked to before. You talk to someone who works in wardrobe on a movie set, and they tell you, if people could buy directly, I create this wardrobe for this movie, and then people watch it and they love it. The brands, they watch it too, and they create something similar to what I've created, and I don't make any money from it. So wouldn't it be amazing if people, as soon as they see it, they can buy it, and I make a bit of money because it's my creation. And so you have these moments where, like, of course, and even as a viewer, if I was watching a movie and I know that, what I'm going to be buying from the mise en scène is something that is really supporting the people who have worked into that movie. It's really getting a piece of their creative vision, of all of these meetings that they've come together and they argued about the colors of this and of that. And then you get a piece of that. It's so much more meaningful. And it's what we want to have, is a meaningful, purchase.
Interesting, very interesting. Yes, I think it's going to be a success. And when you're looking to launch the Qonteq and music, both platforms.
Yeah, so Qonteq is technology, it is ready, and we're actually open to beta testing it with other players where they have their own platforms, and where we kind of give them the technology to be able to monetize their videos on their own platforms. So that's something that's already possible. Music is a bit more time, so it's an open call to artists who want to monetize their music videos, because in the meantime we give a lot of great advice from our experience in marketing and monetization. And so we are already able to support artists in how they can make the most out of their content and how they can monetize it, until we get to a point where we have enough artists to put their trust into music and to monetize through us. So open call, get in touch, we'll help you with advice.
Looking back at your journey, and what an advice you would give somebody who's starting out as an entrepreneur like yourself and your co-founder or founders. They try to carve their own way into the industry of being an entrepreneur, an innovator in the tech world that we're in right now and we're going through. What's good advice is that so far that you learned from, obviously, failures and mistakes, and what would you advise them to do and not to do?
Oh, so many. I would say, you have to get as much information as possible. Be data driven, be passionate, obviously, about what you're doing, but always be able to back it up, and always, kind of question everything that comes, is into like intuitive to you. You're like, yes, this makes sense. But no, actually go out there, do the research. I've interviewed over 600 people to just, confirm a few of the things that, seem very obvious to me, but I could not even trust that. So I've talked to so many people to be able to say this is the right path, or I'm wrong on this, or I'm right on that. So be very data driven. And you have to be able to last over a long period of time. It's really tough. So take care of yourself. Really, really take care of yourself. This takes longer than you expect. It's a lot of, tears, sweat, and blood that goes into it, but it's very rewarding. You have to really have a passion for solving problems, because you're going to get to a point where, that's all you do. I work with my teams that are over, on different time zones. And so when I wake up, I find the emails with all of the problems to solve. And then I spend the day solving them. And I go to bed having solved those and feeling very happy. And then waking up the next day to find the next list of problems. So you gotta love that stuff.
So would you want to announce the launch date for Qonteq? I mean, it said it's available. So is there a launch date, or is pretty much anybody could go and use this technology?
So they get in touch. They get in touch with me. I'll share my contacts.
Please do.
Bob, thank you so much for giving me the platform to do that. And
Absolutely.
we really want to launch over the next 6 months. I'm being large here because I don't want any, things happen. I'm not technical, and so things happen.
So we're talking about the first quarter of next year, 25, first quarter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get in touch with us. But in the meantime, we have all of those modules of support. If you are an artist that have really nice pieces of content and you want to learn how to monetize them, or how to approach sponsorships from companies, or how to approach other, artists or creatives to work with you, we can train you of that. It's free. We really want to create this community where we support, everyone that wants to work with us from day zero until, they get to launch and get to do what they love doing.
Would you like to share how do people, artists or content creators, get a hold of you? Is it through LinkedIn or through social media?
So you can get in touch with me through LinkedIn, Amina El Abed.
Well, been great, interesting, wonderful interview with you, Amina. I want to thank you for joining us today on Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Be sure to connect with us on social media and keep innovating, stay curious, and always think out of the box. You never know. Thank you and take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech podcast. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.